Hi guys, good morning. Serene is going to take over the reins today for the class, but I thought it would be nice to have a little discussion about the format for today's class and also expectations for next week for your final examination. So, just a few things before Serene takes over. Serene is first going to hand back the test and also collect your final independent study assignment along with your shadowing assignment. So once she does that, then we're going to proceed and have a collaborative experience or collaboration about your shadowing assignment. And with that, I want each of you to answer one of these questions. And Serene has access to this PowerPoint, and she's put it on the screen for you to see it in big. And ultimately, based on your shadowing assignment, I'd like you to address your friends and peers in the classroom by answering one of these questions. The first question is, what was the most enlightening experience or aspect of your shadowing assignment? The coolest thing, the most intriguing thing? That is one of the questions that you could answer. Another question that you can answer to your friends and peers is, what did you witness at your shadowing that you didn't know was part of the roles and responsibilities of being a vet tech? So you could answer that question if you like. Another question you could answer is, if you had to turn back time and do this assignment all over again, what would you have done different? Or I'm giving you the option of pleading the fifth and not answering any of the questions. So I know Serene is going to detail me on some of the statements or some of your answers, but I also look forward to reading about your experiences with your written the assignment that you handed in. After, I want today to be a nice relaxing experience because I know some of you are on edge or nervous, anxious about your lab final. So you're going to do fine, think positive. But again, today is going to be nice and relaxing in regards to this collaboration about your shadow experience. Secondly, I want to discuss the final examination. The final examination next week at 10 o'clock, so be prepared at 10 o'clock promptly on Module 15, which will be next Monday, in the same room that we typically meet. The format is going to be in Scantron, so with that I'm going to have you bring some pencils, and there are some math questions, some dosage calculations on this exam, so you'll want to bring your calculator, and you know that you cannot use your phone, so bring a separate little calculator with you, and of course a positive winning attitude. Now, how are you going to prepare for this cumulative final examination? So ultimately it's going to cover questions from modules 1 all the way to the very end. So you have to first address and ask yourself, what have I retained and what haven't I retained? Because if you have retained information, there's really no point in studying it in great detail. Maybe a simple review, but certainly dedicating most of your time to areas for growth. So the items, the information that you haven't retained. So finding out what you've retained and what you haven't is going to be key here. So what are some tools that you could do to use to identify this? Well, one thing that you could use is the Jeopardy that is on eCompanion Doc Sharing. And I have it right here for you, and again, you know where Doc Sharing is. Now, when you open this up and put it in slideshow, Alex Trebek is going to identify some common categories. And these categories are topics that we've covered throughout our semester together. Now there's Jeopardy, and then there's Double Jeopardy, and then there's Final Jeopardy. And with each category, like for example this category on sanitation, there's only 5 questions. And certainly there are many more potential for questions in just that module. So it's a little snapshot, so to speak, of that topic. So let's say you go under sanitation and answer all of these questions and you get 1 right. Well, that's kind of a key that maybe I haven't retained that information and maybe I should review that module in greater detail. And so if you do that with the Jeopardy, I think that's a good idea of finding out what you've retained and what you haven't. And then, of course, in eCompanion Doc Sharing, you've got blank copies of all of your worksheets. Well, redo all of those worksheets, and that's going to be another indicator as to what you've retained and what you haven't. Certainly reviewing all the reading assignments and reviewing all of the PowerPoints, that's going to be quite valuable as well. So we've got our Jeopardy, we've got our blank worksheets, we've got our readings, we've got our PowerPoints, and then of course you know how important study groups are, and you've prepared study cards throughout your semester together, so what a great way to share everybody's study cards. So I hope that helped, and I hope that you have a fun time talking about your shadowing experience. I hope that your experiences energized you and made you a little bit more passionate about the field of veterinary medicine. I know mine was really quite influential for me way back in the day. So have fun with Serene. If you have any questions or concerns in preparing for your final examination, I am just an email or just a step away. My office hours are Monday, but again, if those times don't work, if that time doesn't work, please know that I can find a time to meet with you to cover any material that you would like to. Have fun. See you next week.